Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer hits back at Elon Musk, criticizes those spreading lies over child sex abuse. The US was the first country to collaborate with India on technology, says US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan at IIT Delhi. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau likely to resign as he faces mounting dissent within his Liberal Party. And 8 security personnel among 9 dead in an IED blast triggered by Maoists in India's Chhattisgarh. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has hit out at those spreading lies and misinformation online, accusing them of prioritizing self-interest over supporting victims. While he stopped short of naming Elon Musk, his comments came in response to questions about Musk's recent criticism of Starmer's handling of child rape cases during his time leading the Crown Prosecution Service. Musk recently supported calls for a national inquiry into cases involving men of Pakistani heritage and underage girls.
Those that are spreading lies and misinformation as far and as wide as possible, they're not interested in victims. They're interested in themselves. Those who are cheerleading Tommy Robinson, not interested in justice. They're supporting a man who went to prison for nearly collapsing a grooming case, a gang grooming case. These are people who are trying to get some kind of vicarious thrill from street violence that people like Tommy Robinson promote.
US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan on Monday said the US was the first foreign country to collaborate with India on technology. Speaking at an event at IIT Delhi, he highlighted the historical and ongoing significance of India-US collaboration in technology. He met with his Indian counterpart Ajit Doval in New Delhi. Sullivan also met India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and discussed topics on deepening bilateral, regional and global cooperation. Minister Jaishankar said he valued the openness of the conversations in the last 4 years and appreciated Sullivan's personal contribution to forging a closer and stronger India-US partnership.
Over the last 4 years, we've joined hands to help halt a pandemic, to bring vaccines to the world. We've launched initiatives on jet engines, semiconductors, and clean energy. And in a few months' time, we'll come together to put an Indian astronaut in space. These are remarkable achievements, and we made them by harnessing the remarkable innovation of the American and Indian people.
Justin Trudeau's assurances that his government is in control are coming to an end. Trudeau narrowly survived a string of no-confidence votes. His ally, Jagmeet Singh's NDP, has signalled support for a no-confidence motion, and Liberal MP Chandra Arya has publicly urged Trudeau to step aside. The economy is stagnant. Elections are due later this year. Tripti Tripathi reports.
For weeks, Justin Trudeau has been assuring Canadians that his government is in control. But the tide has turned. Reports of Trudeau's expected resignation have sparked chaos within the Liberal Party. Facing a caucus revolt in dismal public opinion polls, Trudeau's leadership appears on the brink as Pierre Poilievre's Conservatives surge in popularity. Political tensions are nothing new for Canada. In December, the country faced a dramatic cabinet reshuffle following the abrupt departure of the finance minister. Trudeau has been under mounting pressure ever since, with critics questioning his ability to lead during the turbulent period.
There has been a lot of criticism that he is unduly reliant on the advice, or he heeds the advice of his political advisors far more than he heeds the advice of his caucus. Like the MPs, when MPs go to Ottawa, they expect to have some say, and then they find out that they don't really have some say because so much of the advice is being given by his advisors.
Trudeau's popularity has plummeted in recent months, narrowly surviving a string of no-confidence votes. The pressure escalated when his ally, Jagmeet Singh's NDP, signalled support for a no-confidence motion. To make matters worse, Liberal MP Chandra Arya publicly urged Trudeau to step aside, further fueling the internal crisis. With the economy stagnant and poll numbers plummeting, the Liberals are in damage control. Facing the prospect of losing most of their 153 seats, the party has launched a series of pre-election ads accusing the Conservatives of planning cuts to social security programs. Yes, Trudeau's departure would leave the Liberals without a permanent leader at a critical juncture, as polls predict a sweeping victory for the Conservatives in election due by late October. With agency inputs, Tripti Tripathi, DD India.
The deadline to arrest South Korea's impeached President Yoon Suk Yeol ends on Monday after week-long efforts to bring him into custody failed. Anti-graft investigators had asked the police to take over because of the difficulties they faced. Let's take a look at the latest developments in the next report.
Political crisis in South Korea continues as investigators will seek an extension of a warrant to arrest impeached President Yoon Suk Yeol on Monday. The warrant that expires at midnight will be a first for a sitting president. The Corruption Investigation Office, CIO, for high-ranking officials plans to request an extension of the arrest warrant in court. The extension comes on the last day of an arrest warrant for President Yoon over his decision to declare martial law. Visiting U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken reaffirmed confidence in South Korea's handling of the political turmoil. He was speaking at a press conference after meeting with South Korean Foreign Minister Cho Tae-yul.
We condemn the DPRK's missile launch just today, yet another violation of multiple UN Security Council resolutions.
Members of the South Korean ruling People Power Party gathered outside the presidential residence in support of the impeached president. On Friday, investigators failed the arrest of Yoon after a standoff with Presidential Security Service guards who formed a human chain to block access to the impeached president. Yoon was impeached by Parliament on December 14th. The Constitutional Court of South Korea is to decide whether to remove him from office permanently or reinstate him. The court has up to 180 days to take a decision. The court on Friday announced that its first formal hearing for President Yoon is to be held on January 14th, followed by January 16th. If Yoon is arrested before that date, the CIO will have 48 hours to either request a new warrant for his formal arrest or release him. But Yoon's lawyers called the arrest warrant illegal and invalid because the CIO did not have the authority under South Korean law to request a warrant. The fate of the impeached South Korean president remains unknown, with face-off between his supporters and the lawmakers taking a new turn every day.
North Korea launched a ballistic missile on Monday toward the East Sea. According to South Korea's military, North Korea sent an unknown ballistic missile towards East Sea, also known as the Sea of Japan. In response, South Korea fired a ballistic missile into the sea in a show of force after Pyongyang's salvo of missile launches. The ballistic missile launch is Pyongyang's first this year and comes after its last in November, when it test-fired what it said was its most advanced and powerful solid-fuel intercontinental ballistic missile. Japan's Coast Guard also said North Korea fired what could be a ballistic missile. Pyongyang's first missile launch in 2 months comes as U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken was in Seoul for talks with several government officials, including acting President Choi Sang-mok. Both Blinken and his South Korean counterpart Cho Tae-yul have condemned the launch, with Washington, D.C.'s top diplomat calling it another violation of multiple UN Security Council resolutions.
The DPRK's missile launch just today, yet another violation of multiple UN Security Council resolutions.
More than 3 months after winning the most seats at federal elections, far-right leader Herbert Kickl is on track to become the Freedom Party's first Austrian chancellor in a tie-up with the Conservative People's Party. Austrian President Van der Bellen met far-right Freedom Party's leader on Monday to discuss the formation of a new government. Kickl's Freedom Party topped the polls in the autumn's national election with 29.2% of the vote. U.S. President Joe Biden signed a measure into law that boosts Social Security retirement payments to some retirees who draw public pensions, such as former police officers and firefighters. The Senate voted last month to approve the Social Security Fairness Act, which would repeal 2-decade-old provisions that can reduce benefits for people who also receive pension. The House of Representatives had approved it earlier. The law removes long-standing provisions and ensures full benefits to retirees. Speaking to reporters at the White House afterwards, Biden said he thought it was awful that President-elect Donald Trump was trying to do away with birthright citizenship.
And the idea we're going to change the constitutional birthright. If you're born in the country, you're not a citizen. What's going on, man?
Jorge Rodriguez has been re-elected as President of Venezuela's National Assembly for the 5th consecutive year to lead the Chavista Majority Assembly. During the swearing-in ceremony, Rodriguez pledged to defeat extremism and those who threaten the right to live free, sovereign and independent forever. Rodriguez's re-election comes ahead of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro's expected swearing-in as president for the 2025-2030 term before the Venezuelan National Assembly on 10th January. However, Venezuelan opposition leader Edmundo Gonzalez sent a message to the country's army in a video posted on social media, saying that he must assume the role of Commander-in-Chief on 10th January, the date when Nicolas Maduro is set to be sworn in.
Promovida por Hugo Chávez Frías.
According to the 1999 Constitution promoted by Hugo Chavez Frias on January 10, 1999, at the sovereign will of the Venezuelan people, I must assume the role of Commander-in-Chief. It is a necessity to put an end to a leadership that has distorted the fundamental and moral principles of our armed forces. As of January 10, we must act with determination and unity to protect our Venezuela. Our mission is to restore the popular sovereignty manifested in the vote and to guarantee the peace of our nation.
The Philippines has deployed air and sea assets in its exclusive economic zone to monitor China's largest Coast Guard vessel on Monday. According to the Philippine Coast Guard, the Chinese vessel was 65 to 70 nautical miles off the coast of the province of Zambales on Sunday. Calling the ship's presence an act of Chinese intimidation, coercion and aggression, the Philippine Coast Guard ordered the Chinese vessel to leave the area. Meanwhile, in its radioed response, the Chinese ship said it was conducting law enforcement duties within its jurisdictional waters. Still to come on DD India Live. Northern India reels under a cold wave. And India unveils its squad for the Women's ODI series against Ireland, Smriti Mandhana to lead.
Welcome to Jaipur.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated and laid the foundation stone of various railway projects via video conferencing on Monday. In a significant move to boost connectivity in Jammu and Kashmir, the Prime Minister inaugurated the new Jammu Railway Division. The Prime Minister also inaugurated the Charlapalli new terminal station in Telangana. Along with this, the Prime Minister laid the foundation stone of Rayagada Railway Division building of East Coast Railway to improve connectivity in Odisha, Andhra Pradesh and nearby areas, adding to socio-economic development in these regions. During his address, the Prime Minister highlighted the progress of Indian Railways, emphasizing the nearing completion of the mission to fully electrify the railway network.
हमारा लक्ष्य है कि फर्स्ट स्टेशन से लेकर डेस्टिनेशन तक भारतीय रेल से यात्रा एक यादगार अनुभव बने। इसके लिए देश में 1300 से ज्यादा अमृत स्टेशनों का कायाकल्प भी हो रहा है। पिछले 10 वर्षों में रेल कनेक्टिविटी का भी अद्भुत विस्तार हुआ है। 2014 तक देश में सिर्फ 35% रेल लाइनों का इलेक्ट्रिफिकेशन हुआ था। आज भारत रेल लाइनों के 100% इलेक्ट्रिफिकेशन के करीब है।
At least 8 security personnel and a driver were killed after a police vehicle came under attack by Naxals in Kutru region of Chhattisgarh's Bijapur. The Naxals carried out an IED blast, blowing up the vehicle carrying the soldiers. The security personnel were returning from an operation when the incident took place.
2-3 दिनों से जिला बीजापुर, नारायणपुर, दंतेवाड़ा के सीमावर्ती इलाके में सुरक्षा बल द्वारा अभियान संचालित की जा रही थी। इस अभियान में टोटल अब तक 5 माओवादी की डेड बॉडी रिकवर की गई थी। हमारे एक जवान मुठभेड़ में उनका शहादत भी हुआ। तत्पश्चात अभियान के बाद सर्चिंग को पूर्ण करके सुरक्षा बल द्वारा वापस बेस कैंप आ रहे थे। इस दौरान जिला बीजापुर की बेदरे एवं कुट्टू के बीच में अम्बेली के पास माओवादी द्वारा लाए गए एक आईडी ब्लास्ट की चपेट में आने से हमारा एक वाहन आईडी के चपेट में आ गई थी। उसमें सवार हमारा 8 डीआरजी दंतेवाड़ा के जवान का शहादत हो गई, तो उसके एक ड्राइवर का भी शहादत हो गई। कुल 9 का शहादत का भी जानकारी प्राप्त हो रहे थे। उस स्पॉट में अभी रीइंफोर्समेंट टीम और अन्य जितना भी जो इवैक्यूएशन टीम पहुंच गए थे।
On to weather news now. India's northern region has been under a spell of cold wave conditions. In Jammu and Kashmir, fresh snowfall has hit air traffic. All flights at the Srinagar International Airport have been cancelled. In Himachal Pradesh, the State Meteorological Department predicted heavy snowfall and rainfall till 7th January. Moderate rainfall brought down the temperature in the national capital as well. It's affected air and rail services.
Western disturbance has already given a lot of thunderstorm activity over Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, and even hailstorms over Delhi. We are expecting hailstorm and thunderstorm activity to start today over Uttarakhand and northwest Uttar Pradesh.
More than 60 million Americans are under winter weather alerts as a huge winter storm brings the heaviest snowfall and coldest temperatures in over a decade. DD India's Kajal has more.
A winter storm swept across a dozen states in the US on Sunday, blanketing vast regions with snow, coating roads in ice and plunging temperatures to freezing levels. The storm caused travel and work disruptions from Kansas City to Washington as it advanced eastward. The US National Weather Service issued winter storm warnings for around a dozen states. It has predicted 4 to 8 inches of snowfall in the Kansas City with limited visibility and winds of up to 40 mph. More than 60 million people faced weather alerts, leading to nearly 2,200 flight cancellations and over 25,000 delays. A state of emergency has been declared in Kentucky, Virginia, Kansas, Arkansas, and Missouri. The storm will move offshore by Monday night with bone-chilling Arctic air behind it. The daytime temperatures on Monday and Tuesday are predicted to be 10 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit below average from the Great Plains to the East Coast. Meanwhile, heavy snowfall caused an avalanche in Utah. The dramatic visuals captured the cascading avalanche down the snow-covered mountain. The scene was viewed from inside a car parked on a remote icy mountain road. Snow and ice forced the grounding of dozens of flights in Europe on Sunday, disrupting the end of the busy New Year holiday travel season. Kajal's report for DD India.
Algerian volunteers rescued injured goldfinches from a market near the capital and later released them in the wild. Widely revered in Algeria, goldfinches are famous for their colorful plumage and beautiful voice. The same reason has prompted illegal hunting amid growing calls for protecting the species. Right, now take a look at what else is making news in India. India's Chief of Naval Staff, Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi, visited the National Cadet Corps Republic Day camp in New Delhi. This year, more than 2,000 NCC cadets are taking part in the month-long Republic Day camp, which began on 30th of December and will culminate with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's rally on the 27th of this month. India's toy industry recorded remarkable growth with a 239% surge in exports and a 52% drop in imports in FY23 compared to FY15, highlighting the sector's transformation driven by domestic manufacturing and global demand. The 15th edition of Asia's largest aerospace exhibition, Aero India 2025, is set to take place from the 10th to 14th February at the Air Force Station at Yelahanka in Karnataka's Bengaluru. The event, themed The Runway to a Billion Opportunities, aims to foster global and domestic partnerships in the aerospace and defense sectors. The Shivalaya Park, one of the key highlights in this year's Mahakumbh Mela, has been built using waste and discarded materials. The park includes 12 Jyotirlinga replicas and temples representing India's map showcasing sustainability and cultural heritage. Uttar Pradesh's Prayagraj will host Mahakumbh Mela 2025 from 13th January to 26th February 2025. In sports news, the Indian women's cricket team announced their squad for the one-day international series against Ireland. Smriti Mandhana will lead the 15-member squad in the 3 ODI matches starting 10th January in Rajkot, India. Regular captain Harmanpreet Kaur and star pacer Renuka Singh Thakur have been rested. Deepti Sharma has been named vice-captain. The Indian team enter the series on the back of a thumping series victories against the West Indies in ODIs and T20Is. The 82nd edition of the Golden Globe Awards, celebrating the best in film and television, concluded on Sunday. Films such as The Brutalist and Emilia Perez took home the top honors. While many of the wins were expected, some came as a surprise. Diptanshu Kashyap brings us more.
The Spanish-language serial narco musical Emilia Perez took home 4 awards at the 82nd Golden Globe Awards, including Best Motion Picture in the musical or comedy category. Meanwhile, the period epic The Brutalist, set in the post-Holocaust era, won 3 awards: Best Motion Picture Drama, Best Director and Best Actor for Adrien Brody.
I hope that this work stands to lift you up a bit and to give you a voice. And I'm so grateful. I will cherish this moment forever. Thank you.
The Indian production All We Imagine as Light received 2 nominations, including Best Director for Payal Kapadia, but lost to Brady Corbett for The Brutalist. Other notable winners in the film category included Sebastian Stan, Demi Moore, Zoe Saldana, Kieran Culkin, and Fernanda Torres, who won Best Actress in a Drama.
This is a film that helps us to think how to survive in tough times like this.
In television, the Japanese historical epic Shogun claimed 4 Golden Globes, including Best Drama Series and Best Actor for Hiroyuki Sanada. Other winners in the TV categories included Jeremy Allen White, Jodie Foster, Jean Smart, and Colin Farrell.
I'm so happy to be here with these great nominees.
The ceremony, hosted by comedian Nikki Glazer, took place at the Beverly Hilton in Beverly Hills, California. The evening's victories have heightened the chances of these film winners taking home an Academy Award at the 97th Oscars set for March 3rd this year. Diptanshu Kashyap's report for DD India.
And that's all for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, the DD India mobile app has the latest news and updates from around the world. It's available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran from all of us here in New Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.